In this week's video, we are going to be wrapping up our cabinet build series. If you missed part 1 and 2, go back and check those out. But this week we're going to be painting and installing our cabinet boxes. So let's get into the video. Picking up where we left off on part 2, we need to get everything ready for paint. We're going to be using a sprayer, so it's best to lay down some paper to protect the work surface from getting covered in overspray. Once our surface is prepped, we can lay out all of our doors, getting them ready for primer. The sprayer we're going to be using calls to dilute the paint with water to get the best finish. I don't measure, but I usually dilute it about 10% or so. Before we start spraying our doors, we want to test on a scrap piece of plywood to make sure we're laying down the paint as expected. With our paint loaded and our sprayer calibrated, we're ready to begin spraying the doors. When I spray, I ensure I get the whole surface covered, but make sure we're not laying it on too thick. It's much better to do more light coats than 1 or 2 really heavy coats. After letting the first coat dry overnight, we come back the next day, flip our doors, and then spray the other sides. So as you guys saw, we got all of the doors painted, front and back. We did spray them. So what we're gonna do next, we're gonna I have some leftover sanding pads for like a floor sander. These are 240 grit. So I'm gonna use these up and I'm just gonna scuff sand all of the doors to make them smooth again. I don't know if you can hear that, but they're a little coarse just because we had to thin that paint with water a little bit and that raised the grain. So we're just gonna go through all these doors, give them a quick scuff, make them all smooth again, and then we're gonna get to paint. With the doors primed, we can now shift our focus over to the cabinet boxes and get these primed. What we're going to do next is we're going to take some of this Alex Flex premium molding and trim caulk. Crack proof, has a lot of stretch to it. We're just going to hit some of these corners. Some of them are a little bit looser, I guess you could say, than I'd like you can see up there. So we're just going to go ahead and just run a quick little bead of some of this caulk, again, like right there. Listen, people, I'm not a cabinet maker. We're DIYers here. So we're gonna take some of this caulk, just hit these corners really quick, give it one more real quick coat of primer. We're gonna let it set up for a day or two before we get some final coat on this, final coat of paint on this. Quick update. So we went ahead and caulked all the seams in this first box. Just give you a quick little close up here. So again, went all the way around, just made sure everything was nice and tight. All right, we've gotten to that point. So we've sanded everything, we've installed the drawers, we caulked those seams. Again, scuff sanded everything after we primed. That's it, we're ready to paint. Our drawer faces were mounted as you guys seen. They were then taken off and set here so we can paint them. But yeah, we're ready to rock and roll. So let's get started. We're gonna start mixing paint. We're gonna be using Sherwin-Williams Emerald Urethane Trim Enamel and a satin finish. So this is what's recommended for cabinets to be the most durable over time. Can take, you know, wear and tear, doors opening, being constantly grabbed, all that fun stuff. So we're gonna mix and dilute it with a little bit of water in this 1 quart jar. Hopefully a quart is enough to get this first quick layer on. We're probably gonna do, honestly, between 3 and 4 coats. Keep them thin. More coats, more light coats, the better than fewer really thick coats, especially when you're spraying. So we don't want any runs or anything like that. So hopefully a quart's enough. All right, if I haven't said, the color we're gonna be going with is Evergreen Fog. It's a Sherwin-Williams color. Like I said, we just diluted it a little bit with some water. So that's about the consistency we're looking for. So let's load up the sprayer and let's get spraying. All right, as you guys see, we got the face frame laid down on the ground. Got it elevated off of the gravel with just some scrap plywood. So next, like I said, we got the boxes painted. We need to get this face frame painted. Obviously, as you can see, it's going to be installed after the fact because it's all one piece. Ideally, we'd do it over on the workbench, but it's too big to fit. So we got to nail in the gravel and get this painted, so let's go. Okay, we got 2 coats so far on the boxes. I think one more is gonna do it. There's a couple spots, as you can see down there, and then one right over here that there was just a goob or something, got some water on it, maybe from the sprayer. So I just really quick sanded that down. That should get covered with this next coat. But again, very, very good coverage, I think, with 2 coats. There's an example. Again, that might just be the sheen of the plywood grain, but we're gonna hit it and it should get covered pretty well with this 3rd and final coat. So overall, super satisfied with how this is coming out. Hopefully, like I said, we can put one more coat on this cabinet set and then we're ready for install. While we wait for our final coat to dry on our boxes, we can move back over to our doors and get these sprayed as well.
Once our doors are dry, we can install our hinges and all of our pre-drilled holes, making our doors ready to be installed.
All right, today is install day. So obviously it's gonna be going here. It's gonna be going up to the beams. So the first order of business is, obviously we gotta clear out this wall here. We gotta take these outlet covers off, as well as all of our trim. All right, we got all the outlet covers off. Just got to run and grab the correct bit to take the shelf off. But first we're going to take this trim out. So always, always, always grab a utility knife and score along the top of the trim and cut that caulk line. So if you don't, when you go to pull this trim off, it's basically attached to the paint, and it's gonna peel off the paint on the wall when you go to take the trim. So in our case, it doesn't really matter, right? Because we're putting cabinets here, it's gonna be covered up. But if we weren't, it's gonna be a huge headache trying to fix that after the fact. So we're gonna go around just for peace of mind, because some of these parts over here on this very bottom, as you can see, they're still gonna be exposed. Same with over there. So we're gonna cut this caulk line, pull this trim off, and get this shelf down. Very next step is, so we got our toe kick, which I'm not sure if you remember, this is what all the cabinets were sitting on. This is again the exact length minus our, I believe it's 3.5 inches on either side for our reveal. We're gonna put this in place, and then we're going to shim and level the base. That makes it, again, 10 times easier when we go to install our cabinets. We don't need to do any shimming. All we gotta do is put them in, screw them to the wall, and screw them together. So by having a separate toe kick, we can level that, make sure everything's dead perfect before we bring in these big boxes and start wrestling them around. So let's get this toe kick in and let's get it level. With our cabinets installed, now we need to glue and nail our face frame in place, followed by installing our drawers and our drawer fronts.
With everything else complete, it's now time to install these doors and really see this project come to life.
And just a quick tip, if you're hanging doors or cabinets, really or anything really, pictures with any regularity, I highly suggest you guys get a laser level. So let me bring you guys in. I don't know if you can see very clearly, but you can see that red laser line. So we have it set up right on the top of our very top rail. And again, that's just gonna help us as we go down the line, making sure all of our doors are hung exactly level to get the best finished look. So moving over here, you can see this door needs to be moved up really about 1/8 of an inch. And again, you get a quick laser level on a tripod like you see here, and it's gonna make your job a heck of a lot easier. All right, we have made a critical mistake. So our hinges, obviously, as you guys are probably aware, they hook onto the face frame like so. So this whole back side of the hinge protrudes into the cabinet box. What I wasn't thinking of when I built these boxes, but I know now, and honestly I realized it about a week ago, so I've been thinking about it, is our face frame down here for our drawers is right up against the face frame that our doors are being mounted to. So as you can see, there's nowhere for the hinge to go into the cabinet box on the bottom half on both sides. Again, we're DIYers, we're gonna make mistakes. I've never made cabinet boxes like this before. I've only made really one other cabinet in my life. So the solution I've come up with is we're basically gonna figure out where these hinges land on the face frame, and we're just gonna do a little notch of the drawer face frame to allow this to slide in. Again, not ideal. I think it'll look okay. Really, you're only gonna realize it when the doors are open anyway, and it's likely that these drawers are gonna be open when you're down here, so you're really not gonna see them anyway. Yeah, not ideal, but we make mistakes, we just gotta fix them. So let's figure out where these hinges are gonna land, and then let's get to cutting these holes. All right, so that's the end result. Like I said, we got those kind of chiseled out, cut out to accept the hinges, and then we cleaned them out with a vacuum and got all the inside and outside parts that you can see painted the same color as the cabinet. So they'll hopefully, fingers crossed, they're gonna disappear as soon as we get that door mounted. So let's get the door mounted, see how it looks, and see if we need to make any adjustments.
The very last thing needed to complete this project is finish all of the trim, both underneath the cabinets as well as the small pieces on the wall. For trimming under the cabinets, I like to use this black rubber base. I think it finishes them off nicely, and your eyes tend to ignore that it's even there altogether.
Quick tip when putting in shelving in the cabinets. Probably the most common way to do it is to get a shelf pin jig. You'll see a lot of people on YouTube do that, where they pre-drill, before you put the cabinet box together, a bunch of holes up and down this cabinet box. I personally am not a huge fan of a bunch of holes when I'm only going to be using one layer. So what I've found, and I found it on YouTube, I don't recall who I stole it from, but essentially you get some pegboard, and as you can see, it's already got those holes pre-drilled. I circle the ones I'm going to use, and then that allows me to essentially put this in the cabinet set it on either the bottom of the cabinet, top of the cabinet, or in this case, our shelf. And then it gives me my pre-templated holes that I'm going to be drilling. And then that way I only have one hole. I don't have a bunch of holes in my cabinet that I'm not using. To me, it's just a bit cleaner, and what I prefer to do.
And with that, these cabinets are finally complete.
Alright, that will complete our built-in cabinet series. I hope you guys like these videos and maybe even learned a thing or two about building your own. As always, make sure you guys like, subscribe, comment down below any future builds you want to see on the channel. I appreciate you guys watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.